Have you ever felt like you spent hours sitting at your desk studying, yet the results were still disappointing? Many students believe that the longer they study, the higher their grades will be. They stay up late, drink lots of coffee, repeatedly reread their notes, and highlight almost every line in their textbooks. But the truth is that study time is not the factor that determines success. Imagine two students preparing for the same exam. One studies for 6 hours straight, but spends most of that time passively rereading the material. The other studies for only about 2 hours, but focuses entirely on the topics they do not understand, tests their knowledge, and practices the most important types of questions. Who do you think will get the higher score? In many cases, the student who studies less actually achieves better results. What matters is not how long you study, but how you study. When there is only a limited amount of time left before an exam, most people make the same mistake. They open their textbook and try to read it from beginning to end. The problem is that chapters are often very long, while your time is limited. Instead, try a smarter approach. Read backward. Start with the chapter summary, the key points, and the most important concepts. Then go back and look at the headings, charts, illustrations, and highlighted keywords. This helps you quickly build a big picture understanding of the material you need to learn. Next, read the introduction and conclusion of each section to identify the main ideas. Only if you still have enough time should you read the entire content in detail. This method helps you save time and focus on the information that matters most. One reason studying becomes less effective is that you constantly switch between different types of tasks. Imagine spending 30 minutes solving math problems, then switching to writing an essay, and later moving on to studying history. Each time you do this, your brain needs time to adjust to a different way of thinking. This process is called context switching, and it wastes more time than most people realize. Instead of constantly jumping from one subject to another, try grouping similar tasks together. For example, you can finish all your math and science assignments first, then move on to writing tasks or social studies subjects. This approach helps your brain stay focused for longer periods and significantly reduces wasted time. Have you ever tried this method? Share your experience in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more effective study strategies and learning tips. It may sound strange, but one of the best ways to study less is to give yourself less time to complete a task. This idea is based on a well-known principle called Parkinson's Law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you tell yourself that you have the entire evening to finish an assignment, you will likely slow down, check your phone repeatedly, and stretch the task out longer than necessary. On the other hand, if you set a shorter deadline, your brain becomes more focused and works more efficiently. Before you start studying, estimate how much time the task should take. Then reduce that estimate by about 10 to 20% and set a countdown timer. At first, it may feel a little stressful, but over time, you will be surprised to discover that you can finish your work much faster while still maintaining high quality. Artificial intelligence is changing the way we learn, and when used correctly, it can save you a significant amount of time. Instead of spending hours trying to come up with ideas for an essay or figuring out how to start a project, you can use AI to brainstorm, create outlines, and suggest useful research directions. When writing, AI can also help identify spelling mistakes, grammar errors, awkward phrasing, and issues with clarity and flow. However, it is important not to let AI do all the work for you. Its purpose is to help you learn faster and more effectively, not to replace your thinking process. When routine tasks are completed more efficiently, you gain more time to focus on understanding concepts, practicing skills, and solving the problems that truly matter in your learning journey. During studying or taking an exam, you will inevitably come across questions that leave you confused and unsure where to begin. A common mistake many students make is spending too much time on a single question, simply because they have already invested effort into it. However, this often costs them the opportunity to complete other, easier questions that could earn more points. When you encounter a problem or question that seems too difficult, skip it for the moment and move on to the next one. After finishing the other questions, you can return to it with a fresher and more relaxed mind. In many cases, you may suddenly notice a solution that was not obvious before. Remember, the goal is not to solve every question immediately. The goal is to use your time as efficiently as possible to achieve the best overall result in your study session or exam. Not all study tasks are the same. Some tasks are simple and have a fairly predictable duration, such as creating flashcards, organizing study materials, or finding images for a presentation. On the other hand, tasks like writing essays, planning projects, or generating new ideas are much harder to estimate and often take longer than expected. That is why an effective strategy is to complete the simpler tasks first. Once those fixed and predictable tasks are out of the way, you will know exactly how much time remains for the work that requires deeper thinking and creativity. This approach helps reduce feelings of overwhelm and makes time management much easier. Instead of allowing large, open-ended tasks to consume your entire study session, you create a natural time limit that encourages greater focus and productivity. If you found this tip helpful, take a second to like the video and support the channel. One reason many students spend too much time preparing for exams is that they reread all of their notes from beginning to end. The problem is that not every topic needs the same amount of review. In any chapter, there will be concepts you already understand well and others that are still unclear. If you treat all the material the same way, you will waste a lot of time reviewing information you have already mastered. Instead, make it a habit to mark the topics you do not fully understand while you are studying. You can use stars, colored pens, or any symbols that are easy to recognize. When exam time arrives, you can focus only on the sections you marked instead of rereading everything. This simple technique makes your review sessions more targeted, saves valuable time, and significantly improves your learning efficiency. After everything we have discussed, there is one important lesson to remember. Your academic results are not determined by how many hours you spend sitting at your desk, but by how effectively you use those hours. One person may study for 6 hours a day, but spend most of that time passively rereading material. Meanwhile, another person may study for only 2 or 3 hours, but focus on their weaknesses, test their knowledge, and use their time with clear purpose. Over time, this difference creates a significant gap in results. Effective learning is not about forcing yourself to work longer. It is about eliminating wasted effort and focusing on the methods that truly lead to progress. When you learn how to study the right way, you not only achieve better grades, but also free up more time for the other important things in your life. If there is one key lesson to take away from this video, it is this. Academic success is not a competition to see who can spend the most time studying. Many students feel exhausted because they constantly try to study longer, when the real issue is often their study method. High achievers do not necessarily study the most, but they know exactly what to prioritize and what to eliminate. They focus on their weak areas, make efficient use of their time, and avoid passive study habits. Every minute used effectively is worth far more than hours of unfocused studying. So, instead of asking yourself how many more hours you need to study each day, ask yourself how you can learn more effectively with the time you already have. The best thing about the methods discussed in this video is that you do not have to wait until next semester or for some perfect moment to start using them. You can begin as early as your very next study session. Instead of trying to study longer, focus on studying more effectively. Try marking the topics you still struggle with, grouping similar tasks together, setting time limits for your work, and avoiding spending too much time on a single difficult question. These small changes may seem insignificant in a single day, But when repeated consistently over weeks and months, they can create a remarkable difference in your academic performance. Remember, success does not come from one perfect study session. It comes from small improvements that are maintained every day. And if you would like to discover more useful insights about learning, psychology, and personal growth, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss our upcoming videos.